Welcome to Sports Buds TV. Join in as we explore the latest news and thrilling matchups. Whether you're a diehard or a casual, this is your destination. Let the games begin. All right, we're back. This is Sports Buds TV. My name is Serge. Got my guy Fred. What's up, Fred?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Big Serge?
What up, Brody? Well, today's October 18th, bro. There's a whole lot going on in sports. What do you say we get into it?
Let's get started. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. And like we do every time, let's start off with the NFL. Like we say, the NFL is king. NFL is king. Well, let's start there, man. And we'll recap week 6, pick things up Thursday night, where we saw the Broncos taking on the Chiefs. What'd you think, man? What were your thoughts on this game?
You know what? It was kind of boring. There was a lot of the Broncos were pretty sluggish all around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't really get any kind of momentum going. I know it's Sean Payton's first year with the Broncos, so I know he'll make some changes, man. But so far, him and Russell Wilson haven't been clicking, man. So I say, they're 1-5 for a reason, right? I really don't think they'll turn it around the rest of this season.
Dang, man. I'm interested, what gives, because I feel like something's got to give, either the QB or the coach. I don't really see the coach, but, we'll see. We'll see what happens, what comes out of that. I think we got our guest host over there. Nah, man, but, the big takeaway for me, Patrick Mahomes, 300-something yards, passing. Travis Kelce over 120-something yards receiving. And the Chiefs just keep on doing their thing, bro. But, Russell Wilson with those 2 interceptions, didn't help the cause there. And, they've lost, I think it's like 5, 6, I forget how many years in a row, dude. They haven't won a game against these guys. So, yeah, that streak just, it's pretty bad, man. But if you don't have any other thoughts, we can, keep it moving. I believe this was the London game coming up, the Ravens and the Titans.
Oh, yeah. I think was it in Germany or London?
You know what? I believe it was London, but I may be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
Okay, well, I know it was in another country, but the Ravens went ahead and took the W 24-16. The Ravens went ahead and currently sit atop of the AFC North. That's because the Steelers had a bye week, but great game from Lamar Jackson, man, all around. This guy's a baller. He got paid for a reason. I'm not gonna lie, against the Steelers, he had us. It's just the receivers didn't make the actual play, man. But we dodged the bullet with that. Things happen in the games, but the Ravens look pretty sharp, man. They're gonna make a run in the AFC North. It's gonna be tough to to give a crown to one of those teams up there.
Yeah, man. Usually a competitive division. I'm looking forward to see, what that outcome is. And actually, the Rams are facing the Steelers, and we'll get into that. That's a game up ahead, but I'm sure you're going to want to stay in those with the standings, right? You need those games, you need those wins. But I've got the Titans on this, right? Well, I've got the Titans side on this one. Ryan Tannehill, I believe this game he got injured, right? Banged up. Backup came in, and Derrick Henry had his 97 yards on the ground, so doing what he can, but just wasn't enough. You said the score 24-16, and the Titans are just digging that hole, man. It feels like they've got the weapons, Henry, Hopkins, right? I know Tannehill banged up, and you want to get him taken care of, but at 2-4, that hole's just feels like bigger and bigger, man. We'll see if they've got time there's time, but we'll see if they'll be able to turn it around in that time,
Yeah, you're right. They're digging themselves into a pretty deep hole there, Serge, in the AFC South, currently sitting at 2-4 last place. The Texans already surpassed them at 3-3, but they need to rack up those wins, man. Otherwise, it's going to be one of those years where, they drafted Malik Willis pretty high, in my opinion, and, I just don't think he's lived to that expectation. You have Tannehill, you had just paid Tannehill, so now you're stuck with him for a while. So I don't know. I don't know where it goes for the Titans. I have a few homies that are Titans fans. I want to talk to them how they feel about their team.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I feel like they've got the firepower, but yeah, let's see about them figuring it out. We'll move on to the next, matchup here. I've got the Commanders. They took on the Falcons. This ended up being 24-16. I actually had the Falcons winning this game. Boy, was I wrong. The Commanders, they getting some of these wins under their belt that some of us might not have expected. But you had the Commanders side of this ball game. Any takeaways that you have for this game?
The Commanders are a resilient team. They have a great offense. I mean, Sam Howell is still inconsistent. He's a great game manager, dropping 3 touchdowns. Robinson, he's a baller when he gets the ball. I mean, he only had 10 carries this game for 31 yards. He just didn't get the ball enough times to make a difference on there. But Commanders they're one of those teams that, with Ron Rivera, I know they got Bieniemy out there too now as an offensive coordinator. So it's a well-balanced team. I say that, and I think they could still make a run in the NFC East. I think they can make a run against the Cowboys, actually.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they're definitely staying, close enough to. You never know how these things pan out. What teams go on a winning streak, some teams may go on a losing streak, and where they find themselves, where with their wins, maybe at the top, maybe competitive to make things interesting there. Let's see what else we have. Yeah, Desmond Ridder, dude, 3 interceptions. I've got the Falcons side of the ball in this game, and that's not a way to win games. Interceptions are going to kill you. You may get away with 1, 2, you're making it tough, but 3. Yeah, man, you're not giving your team a chance at all. London with 125 yards, Drake London there, having a good outing, but not enough when your QB is giving the ball to the other team. So, another one. We'll see how they end up winding down the season here. The next game I've got, let's see. Yeah, I've got the Vikings. They took on the Bears. This ended up being 19-13. This wasn't really one that a lot of people are, going to pop their fireworks for this. These two teams we've talked about putting themselves in a hole. They've done that, pretty well this season, each of these teams. But, the situation with the QB in Chicago, Fields goes down and in comes the backup. They're trying to figure it out. It feels like they got a win or two. Fields was doing, okay. And then, unfortunately, he gets injured. I've heard some comments about they should have maybe traded, but I feel like I feel like he's a good player, man. You maybe want to, definitely see what he's got, and know for sure before you make any decisions. Now, unfortunately, now he's injured, and that's not what you wanted at all. But yeah, man, they've got some worries. Yeah,
he's a baller, man. He's a baller, man, and I hope he has a fast recovery, man. The Vikings get a win. I mean, one thing I've seen from the Vikings is that they've been consistent, inconsistent. I mean, these guys they're fighting. They've come close to a lot of those losses they have.
Yeah,
I just feel that the 2-4 record, it doesn't really match their playing.
Right.
Kirk Cousins, drops 181, a touchdown, but playing without the top receiver in the league, in my opinion, it's very difficult to rack up many yards, man. But for what he had, Hawkinson had a pretty good game. The rookie Madison had a pretty good game. So, I mean, I think the Vikings need to make a run. I mean, that division is for the taking. You know what I mean? The Vikings are. Let me see. What's the current? Okay, so this is where it stands. The Lions 5-1, and then the Packers are 2-3, and the Vikings are 2-4. So they can still make a push. I think they're, aside from the Lions, they're the best team in that division.
Yeah, man, I agree with you, and they can make a run. I have the Lions, running away with the division, but wild card is not out of the question, especially with the format that we've had these last few years. What's the next game you have, bud? Let's see. I've got the Seahawks. They took on the Bengals. Yeah. This ended up being 13-17. The Bengals get that win and keep their streak of beating the NFC West. It appears that, that's all they need in order to get a win. Play an NFC West team. But Joe Burrow, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jamar Chase, 80 yards. with 6 receptions on those yards, that's not bad at all, and enough to get them the win, and keep that streak that they have with the NFC West going.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the Seahawks?
It's a very entertaining game. I mean, the Seahawks, they also have ballers. I'm really liking what Geno Smith is doing out there.
Yeah,
He racked up over 300 yards. They did have also 2 interceptions. From what I saw from the game, the Seahawks, they had a great opportunity, to take the lead, but the Bengals just put that Cobra Clutch pressure on Geno Smith, man,
right.
and they had to rely on field goals. But I like what I see from the Seahawks. The NFC West is a very, very tough division.
Yep.
I mean, to even try to sneak as a wild card team, but they sit at 3-2, which is not bad. So I see good things. Good thing from Pete Carroll and the boys out there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and you never know with the Seahawks, Pete Carroll, the NFC West. It's the Wild Wild West out there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another thing before we wrap this one up, I believe there was a special they did on Tyler Lockett. Just how many years he's now been in the league. Quite a veteran there, and crafty when it comes to running his routes. He talks about maybe not. Having to depend on what the defense is doing, not depending so much on like what his athletic abilities are, now at the point of his career compared to what it was before, and how that's helped him, leverage, timing, it's very important stuff when you're a receiver when running those routes, really good for him with 6 receptions in this game, walked away with 94 yards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's just impressive on his end. Not enough to win the game, of course, the Bengals pulling this one out, but impressive to see Tyler Lockett and continue to be a productive receiver on the field, even after, a few years now in the league. But what's the next game? What's the next game we've got here on the dock?
Let's see. I have the San Francisco 49ers suffering a loss to the Cleveland Browns, 19-17. The Niners, started off the game playing well. They were just, pretty much lacking on third down conversions. They did suffer, pretty severe injuries that affected the game. Lucky for them, a lot of those injuries are really not long-term injuries. So Brock Purdy, had a pretty rough game. 125 yards, 1 touchdown, but he also had 1 pick. I like Ayuk. Ayuk is really good, man. 4 receptions, 76 yards. But when you lose your starting left tackle, an all-pro tackle, it's very tough to handle like the Browns defensive line. Those guys are tough, fast, rabid dogs out there, man.
Yeah.
And they brought the house down on Purdy and the boys. So
yeah.
I think the 49ers are going to rise from this. I still think they're the best team in the West, in the NFC. No diss to the Philly fans out there. They're a great team as well. But the 49ers, man, they finally took an L. I guess there's going to be no undefeated teams this season, Serge.
Yeah, man. Yeah, them 72 Dolphins, right? They got to be celebrating. They were celebrating, I'm sure, when we saw both of the undefeated teams go down this week. But, I have the Brown side of this game, and this was interesting, man. You mentioned, Brock Purdy and his pretty bad, game there with the interception. But you said it also with the injuries, that before any of this even took place, though, let's talk about the brawl before the game. Did you maybe catch that? So, yeah, there's this like back and forth between, Deebo Samuel, which, and I believe it starts with Brandon Ayuk, dude. But then Deebo he gets a little more amped up. And then somebody pushes Deebo, if I'm not mistaken. And then that's when Williams comes in. Trent tries to get in, starts pushing some of these, I believe they were DBs. Yeah. So then it got pretty wild. I'm sure you saw the clips of it. They were going back and forth. So it got chippy there, man. And then the game was no different. It got chippy in the game. Some of these, I hate injuries, bro. I hate injuries. Unfortunately, they're part of the game. But with all that said, let's not forget the Niners had a chance to win that game. With seconds left. They go and they take out their kicker, dude, and he missed it. He missed the kick there. So the Browns end up, walking away with that win. and it was a scrappy win. Amari Cooper shows up with 108 yards to, make sure to put him over. But yeah, it was a scrappy, and you are, when it comes to the Browns, when it comes to your division, you know how they play. They're scrappy, and that's how I feel like they came out, dude. They came out scrappy, and look out for the Browns, man. If anything, you're gonna have to, bring your lunch when you come play with the Browns. Going to work.
Yeah, and not to mention they were playing without their star quarterback themselves, but I think the main
Exactly.
difference was just that pressure that the Browns were putting on them.
Right.
I mean, these guys, they fight, man. They fight, and the 49ers fight as well. So that's why the score says it all. The 49ers missed two field goals, right?
Well, I know the one at the end for sure. Yeah, that killed them.
It's like every opportunity counts, man. Every point
Yep.
counts. Great game, enjoyable. I did catch it. A lot of great plays. So I think these teams they're gonna be a little dangerous. Mid season coming around. So can't wait to see a little bit more. What they do on each the respective divisions.
Yeah, we've already started to talk about, your division leaders, but like you said, the midway point is just around the corner. We're about a third of the way here. So as we get closer to that midpoint, we're going to be looking at the division leaders closer and start to see who's really separating themselves, as far as those leaders and who may even end up, getting that first round bye, So we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to that. We'll keep it moving. And the next game here, we have the Saints. They took on the Texans. That final score was 13-20 in favor of the Texans. And
Texans.
yeah, man. And CJ Stroud, I know that I believe you picked him, if I'm not mistaken. And, he's been on a roll, no interceptions up until this game. Finally, threw that interception, but had two huge touchdowns, to help out, their efforts in that win. And very impressive, man. This was a team that I really was looking forward to seeing this rookie QB face. And I feel like, he did enough. Of course, that interception, you wish you could have it back. But other than that, I mean, well done. Well done.
Yeah, very, very well coached team. D'Amico Ryan's, looking like coach of the year candidate already.
Yeah.
Getting a great Texans team to play hard, with a great rookie quarterback. Derek Carr, veteran in this league. First year with the Saints, did drop over 350 yards, a touchdown, and one interception. He was pressured most of the game. He did get hit a lot. Alvin Kamara, he's still getting those wheels, the rust off those wheels. But he did rush for 68 yards. Chris Olave, 7 receptions, 96 yards. He's a dog. He's a baller. I was looking at the actual NFC South division, and this is what I was able to see here, Serge. The Saints sit at 3-3, the Falcons sit at 3-3, and the Bucks are 3-2. So this division is still up for grabs. Any of these teams can still make a run. My money's on the Saints. I think the Saints have a great all-around team, defense. They're great defense, top 5 defense in this league. But that was my take from the Saints, man.
Yeah, man, and very, very competitive division. And there's some that you think like the Saints, and then some weeks they go out there and you're like, wow, really, what's going on there? So it's an up and down type of team, I think, but definitely one that if they figure it out, they may be winning the division, and it's close enough to anybody can do it. So that's for sure. That's for sure. Well, what's the next game we've got here, bud? Let's see. Here it is. Colts. And so, yeah, we had the Colts face the Jaguars, and this ended up being 20-37 in favor of the Jags. Trevor Lawrence balling out 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, a costly interception, but didn't cost enough to cost them the game, right? Travis Etienne with 2 huge touchdowns. And Christian Kirk, man, just, keeping the steady run that he's been on this season. I believe it was the year before he got paid quite a bit, and he's been productive, I'd say, for this team to go along with all the other weapons that they have, So Christian Kirk, Etienne, and Lawrence, it looks like they're figuring this thing out, and for a young team to start to do that, going on a run there, 4-2 currently for the record. they're sitting pretty nice, man. The Jaguars,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, you're right. Dougie Peterson has great weapons in his team. They're on a three-game winning streak out there in Jacksonville. I know two of those wins came, while in London, over the pond. But the Colts, the Colts, man, there. Gardner Minshew, my boy, he threw over 300 yards, but he also threw three interceptions, and that's really tough to overcome. Zach Moss, I was really hype on him. He was only able to rack 21 touchdowns, but he did get that one touchdown.
Yeah.
And the Colts also, they're very inconsistent. They did suffer the injury to
Right.
their starting rookie quarterback, and by the looks of it, it looks like he's gone for the year.
Yeah, he is.
This is going to be Gardner Minshew's team now. I believe that he will, get more chemistry with his team. Taking the starting role, and they'll make a good run. This is another one of those divisions that's very,
Yeah.
very tight. You can't really let the Jaguars take a good lead because they're not going to be looking back.
No doubt, man. No doubt. So this it's going to be interesting where they end up right now. This matchup was, you think with the Colts getting maybe, everybody on the same page, Minshew picking up, getting rid of some of those interceptions. You don't, one or two, like we said, you can maybe get by, but three's going to kill you every single time. All right. What was the next game we've got on tap here, bud?
All right, Serge. You know what? I got the Carolina Panthers suffering a 21-42 loss to the hot Miami Dolphins team. The Carolina Panthers have yet to pick up a win in the NFL this year. They did get the number one pick this year, and it's not really working out too well for them. Their running game is non-existent. Teams are just crowding the line and putting pressure on the young quarterback here. Panthers, sit at the bottom of the division, and they have a very tough road, man. Adam Thielen, making his presence felt this season. His breakout game, 115 yards, a touchdown. Bryce Young, 217, a touchdown, no interceptions, no turnovers, so that's good. It's just, like I said, their running game was really non-existent this game.
Yeah, bud. And as bad as things have been for, the Panthers, arguably they've been just as good for the Dolphins. Yeah, they've got that one loss, but, take that on the chin, keep it moving. We see Tua in this game had over 260 yards passing, 3 huge touchdowns. Of course, Raheem Mostert with 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 163 yards and a touchdown. Man, they're on a roll. We've talked about it. They're comparing them to the greatest show on turf. The numbers that they're putting up are video game type of numbers. We'll see if they're able to win the Super Bowl like the greatest show on turf was able to get. But they're definitely on a crazy, crazy roll.
Absolutely, man. They have a great coach,
Yeah.
He makes it fun to play for them, man.
Should be Speaker of the House.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people, are focusing on their offense, but their defense is very solid as well.
Yeah, they are.
They sit atop, the AFC East, and I think this is the year for the Dolphins to take it. Not the Super Bowl. I'm not claiming them to take the Super Bowl, but I think they're for sure going to take the division.
Well, take what? Nah, I hear you. Yeah, division, no doubt. All right, man. We'll keep it moving. In the next game, I've got the Patriots. They took on the Raiders, and the Raiders win this game 17-21. Jimmy Garoppolo, an interception. I believe he got, booted out of the game there over an injury. Hope he's doing well. Jacobs with 77 yards on the ground. But, it wasn't enough for the no. Yeah, Garoppolo was the one that got injured. Jacobs, did his thing on the ground, and they end up pulling up that victory 21-17. I thought the Patriots were going to actually, surprise us, but they're still in that hole that they've dug themselves in, man. We talked about some of the teams earlier. Talk about the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, they look a little better than their previous 2 games.
Right.
At least they dropped 17 points on the Raiders. I mean, granted they were playing as a visitor, right? But Mac Jones, I don't think he's still the quarterback for these guys. 200 yards, 1 interception.
Yeah.
Belichick has a great defense, but it's just his offense, man. His offense has no
Killing them.
juice. There's really
Right.
nothing on there. I know that they're looking to fight for that number one pick, man. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Dang, man. But that brings up an interesting conversation. If they end up with that number one pick, let's say it's Williams and Belichick has a year with him, maybe a few years with him. That's an interesting, idea, man. I don't know if it ends up happening, but you talked about the defense. That'd be interesting what they could do with a very talented QB.
I think if I was the Patriots and let's say I don't get the number one pick, or if I do get the number one pick, I like the quarterback from Oregon, Nix. I think Nix will fit very
Mm,
well with,
okay.
with, with Belichick, in that type of offense. So
Yeah, and it may be one of these cases where you really can't go wrong there. Interesting. I know he's gotten a lot of dirt, so I'd like to see him, definitely be successful. And I think he's a great coach. So this whole dirt, throwing dirt on his name, I'd say it's somewhat premature, but that's what we do at Sports Talk, right? We're sometimes premature about our ideas, and when we want to be bold, give a bold prediction. I'll keep it moving though, bud. We see in the next game the Detroit Lions taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Lions just doing what the Lions do this year, dude. Going on to win this game 20-6. My guy Jared Goff over 350 yards with two huge touchdowns, and then Amos St. Brown coming back after being out there for a bit, over 120 yards with a huge touchdown of his own to keep those Lions doing what they're doing this year, winning.
yeah, they got the hottest winning streak right now at 4 games, man. They sit atop the NFC North.
North.
He's got these guys playing, man. They're playing hard. I haven't been keeping up with the Hard Knocks, with the Lions, but I hear he's really good. On the other hand, the Bucks, the Bucks did suffer an L. However, they still sit atop, their division in the NFC South. Baker Mayfield, looking pretty sharp. 19 for 37 for 206. He did have that one pick. Godwin, six receptions, 77 yards. I think he's going to be their go-to receiver moving forward. I think the Bucks are going to go ahead and trade for Evans. Get some type of revenue. At least I would. But mid-season form, I think the Bucks are still doing pretty good. They're doing pretty good. They did rack up important wins earlier this season. They're going to keep them afloat in that division, especially in that division. So looking good things from the Bucks, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And sidebar, I believe you had the Lions on that one, but the Lions have been my team this season, so it was only right for me to make sure that I covered them for that one. So thank you, good sir, and we'll keep it moving. In the next matchup, we had the Cardinals. They took on your Los Angeles Rams. The Rams end up winning this one 9-26. And Matthew Stafford, man, he has been on a roll, throwing all over the place. In this game, he goes for over 220 yards, has a touchdown. Might have had a few others if, drop balls didn't happen, but that's neither here nor there. Kyren Williams with over 150 yards, a big touchdown. Some, bad news from this game. He's banged up for a few weeks. Get well soon. We can't wait to see you back out there, but get well soon. And then, of course, Cooper Kupp with 140 yards, over 140 yards, and a huge touchdown as well. So, your Los Angeles Rams doing what they do, beating the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals are coming off another loss. It's your third loss in a row.
Right.
They sit at the bottom of the NFC West. Looking like, again, they're going to be a top 10 draft pick next year type of team. Josh Dobbs, this guy's a baller. It's unfair for this guy, right? But, hey, it's the NFL. It's a business. He dropped
Right.
235. He was also their leading rusher with 47 yards. So that just tells you how that offense was going.
Yeah.
I did catch a glimpse of, Kyler Murray, possibly making a comeback, this week.
Yeah.
So that'll change things up a bit on that offense. The defense, they did look pretty solid. It's not I mean, they're still very young. And
Right.
like our friend JKZ, friend of the show here said, they're still like in a rebuilding plan, rebuilding mode.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt, and we'll see when they figure it out if they ever do. But yeah, I definitely know our friend JKZ is anxiously awaiting, for them to do that. But we'll keep it moving. What's the next game we got here on the slate? We're wrapping up most of these games here, but what do we have left, bud?
We got the Philadelphia Eagles taking their first loss of the year.
Ooh, all right.
14-20 against the Jets. This week was full of upsets, and this was definitely one of them. Jalen Hurts, did throw 3 interceptions against that tough Jets defense. Jalen Hurts again led the Eagles in rushing this week with 47 yards and racked up another touchdown. AJ Brown, he's a beast. Yard
Yeah.
after catch king. 7 receptions, 131 yards for those fantasy football players. I'm sure
Yep.
you went ahead and got the fruits of your labor selecting that guy. But
Yep.
Philadelphia, even though they suffered that loss, they sit atop the NFC East. I think that's going to be my pick again for that division. I don't think the Cowboys will be able to make a run at that. No diss on the Cowboys. It's just that's how good Philadelphia is this year. But what more can I say? Philly, they took that L, but I'm pretty sure they'll bounce back from this one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And no, we talked about no more undefeated teams, right? And kind of like the Niners, they had a chance there to win this game and walk away, but they missed that field goal. With the Eagles, they're ahead of it. They're ahead in this game. They're going into that fourth quarter up in the game, and to the credit of the Jets, they score a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion. So definitely interesting how the Jets were able to pull together there in that fourth quarter. Of course, they did what they could throughout the game, but in that fourth quarter, really put it together, stop the Eagles when need be, and then, get the go ahead. So Zach Wilson, 186 yards, definitely, doing what he can with his arm. Make sure keeping the defense honest, allowing Breece Hall to go for his 39 yards, but, his touchdown to go along with that. And, receiving Wilson just doing his thing with 90 yards on 8 receptions. And,
beast.
yes, sir. And good enough to hand the Eagles, that first loss of the season. So hats off to them. The Jets have won a few games that, after, or if we look at the halftime, week 1, and, losing their starting QB, and, we fast forward now to this past week. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to lose that starting QB, but you're thinking now at this point, anything can happen now. Now we're playing with house money. So
you're playing with house money, exactly. They get their second win in a row. And this just gives them that confidence boost, that you were saying, that, throughout adversity, they're still coming out and gunslinging it with a Zach Wilson, because that guy has a cannon. It's just his readings are a little bit shabby. But, what can I say, man? The Jets, it's another fun division to watch, aside from the Patriots, but Dolphins, Bills, and Jets is going to be a good matchup to watch for the upcoming games, the upcoming weeks.
No, for sure, man, for sure. We'll keep it going here. Next game, yes, sir. The next game I've got the Giants. They took on the Bills, and the final score here was 9-14. And it looked later like the Lions might, pull it off, and then the fourth quarter came. And, all that went out the window, man. Tyrod Taylor, of course, gets the nod here with, the situation there with Jones. He goes for the 200 yards passing. Saquon Barkley, 93 yards rushing, doing what he does. But just wasn't enough, man, to, pull out that win when, what was it? Before the, this is the game that right before the half, the Giants have a chance to at least get some sort of points. And they call, I believe it's a run, right?
Yeah.
Time's running out, dude. Time's running out. And the last thing you probably need to do is run it there when you're not going to have enough time to get back to the line and spike it. So, yeah, man, that didn't help out their case. That's a 3-point difference at the very least. And then fast forward to the end of the game. It ends up being, a 5-point game. that dude, at the end of the game, they're marching down their goal line, they're in the red zone, and it makes all the difference, dude. That's the difference between playing to score a touchdown, where you could just be playing to score a field goal here,
Yeah.
and we went. You know what I mean? So those plays, you can't leave the board. I hate leaving points off the board, especially in a situation like that. You got to play smart. So
Especially when you're
yeah,
trying to turn your season around, and
precisely.
playing,
Take it away. Yep.
without Danny Dimes, it's kind of tough. But Tyrod Taylor did pretty good. Um,
Yeah.
that Giants defense really surprised me. Holding Josh Allen and the boys 200 yards passing. He did, have two touchdowns, one interception. Diggs, solid performance, 10 receptions, 100 yards. And this is one of those games, man, that you just barely survive. And I'm speaking from the Bills, which is a much needed win, especially in the AFC East. They rack up a 4-2 record now, one game behind the Dolphins, which is going to be a really close race to keep an eye on. So, the Bills again do what they do, right? Rack up another win.
Yep.
This is their, I think they're 3-1 at home. So, it's pretty much automatic. Moving forward, it's going to be a really fun division to watch, man. The AFC East. It's going to be a nice race.
Yeah, man, I agree. Definitely one we got to keep an eye on. We'll see here. Oh, we got one more game, right, for week 6 here. Let me pull that up. Let's see. Yeah, the last game we had was Monday night. The Cowboys taking on the Chargers, and this ended up being 20-17. The Cowboys coming out with that win. We saw Dak Prescott with definitely a good showing, man. He gets a lot of dirt thrown on his name. And, I know he plays for the Cowboys, so that kind of comes with the territory, but dang, people can be really, really nasty, bro. And, this guy's a quality QB, and they make him seem like he's a bum or something, but, he had over 270 yards, a touchdown, right? So, passing, he did his thing. And then he did his thing rushing, man. 40 yards, of course, or a touchdown to go along with that. And, with those yards, they may not, jump out at you, but I always remember the injury he had. And for him to still, be able to do what he does, it's definitely impressive to me. CeeDee Lamb, 117 yards. Really good performance there to help put them over the Chargers there, man.
No, you're right, Serge. It was a great game. It's the Cowboys, right? America's team. So they're
Quote
gonna bring
unquote.
they're gonna get that hate whether they win or lose.
Right. Yeah.
And it was a great opponent in the Los Angeles Chargers. They have a great quarterback, Justin Herbert. He's a solid young QB in this league.
Right.
Racking up over 200 yards again. He did have two touchdowns, but he also had a crucial interception, momentum killer,
Yep.
as they say.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the Chargers, their running game was really non-existent. Eckler was held to only 27 yards. Cowboys defense was just all over the field on this one. It's like they had a chip on their shoulder, coming off a loss. However, they do miss Diggs. Their secondary got burned by Allen. 7 receptions, 85 yards, one touchdown. He's a beast, man. You have him on fantasy. A great pickup. The Chargers, sit at third place in the AFC West with a 2-3 record. I mean, these guys are they're pretty even. Points in favor. They have 127, but they also have 124 points against. So it just tells me that a lot of those games have been pretty close. Pretty close games. But
Yeah.
I mean, the AFC West. It looks like the Chiefs are gonna take that division, but Chargers can make a run at a wild card. I still think they can. They're one of those teams that can come up the AFC.
Yeah. We won't know for sure, but we've talked about how we're just right around the corner from the halfway point. So we'll see after that halfway point if they're, getting a little bit closer, making that gap a little shorter. Like you said, they may be able to still make a run there, but if it starts to get wider and that gap, gets in the wrong direction for them, yeah, they might as well pack things up, man, and maybe see if they can get, a higher draft pick there. But that is, that's the end there. We reached the end for your NFL Week 6 recap. Very interesting, man. 6 weeks under our belt. This week, we've got our picks here for the NFL, Week 7 coming up here shortly, so we'll get into that. But a whole lot that we've learned, that has gone on already over 6 weeks in the NFL. And, we've got, at least another 11 or 12 weeks before the postseason. A whole lot of football left. So make sure you keep it here. Like, comment, subscribe, follow us. This is Sports Buds TV. Yeah, man. I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, great start to the NFL season. Great teams. A lot of young teams making their presence be felt. A lot of teams, expected teams per se, are also showing pretty dominant performances. But I can't wait. I can't wait for the rest of the NFL. Time flies when the NFL's around. So we're already going to Week 7. The Steelers are back. So I can't wait.
I'm glad you said that. Let's pick it up there. We'll go a bit rapid fire on this. It's Week 7, so we'll talk our predictions, our picks, actually. Like I said, we'll do rapid fire. But if you're ready, Fred, this is the NFL Week 7 picks for Sports Buds TV. Let's go ahead and get into it. First off, Thursday Night Football. We've got the Jaguars at the Saints. Give me the Jaguars.
I got the Saints on this one. They're going to bounce back.
All right, man. All right. We'll keep it moving there. Next up, we've got the Lions at the Ravens. Give me the Lions.
I'll take I'm going to take the Ravens on this one.
All right, man. All right. Then we've got the Raiders at the Bears. I think the Raiders have enough, man. I think they have enough.
I'm going to go with the Raiders.
There we go. Now we're talking. All right. And the Browns at the Colts. Give me the Browns.
The Browns look pretty sharp. They look pretty sharp.
Sharp enough for you to pick them? All right.
I got the Browns.
All right. After that, we've got the Bills at the Patriots. Give me the Bills.
Yeah, for sure. Got the Billies.
All right. All right. Next up, we've got the Commanders at the Giants. I'm going with the Commanders. I know.
I'm going to go with the Giants on this one. Saquon's going to have a great game.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thereafter, we've got the Falcons at the Buccaneers. Give me the Falcons.
I got the Bucks.
All right, man. This one's, circled on our group calendar here. We've got the Steelers at the Rams. Give me your Los Angeles Rams.
Steelers are coming off a bye week. Deontay Johnson is back. Pat Freiermuth is looking like day-to-day. Give me the Steelers, a close one.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. We'll see about that one, man. All right. Next up, we've got the Cardinals at the Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks.
Give me the Seahawks.
Good stuff. Up next, we've got the Packers at the Broncos. I'm going with the Packers.
I'm going to go with the Broncos. Bounce back game.
I feel like you've given them some love throughout this year. Like, I've got the Broncos this year.
I got hope. I got hope for the Broncos, bro. They deserve a good game, and this is going to be it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Next up, I've got the Chargers at the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Yeah.
Come on home. Come on home. All right. Next up, we've got the Dolphins at the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles. This one was tough for me. Yeah,
I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
All right. I like it. And Monday night, we'll cap it off with the Niners at the Vikings. For me, I'm going to go with the Niners, man.
I'm going to go with the 49ers as well, Serge.
Yeah, bud. So that's your NFL Week 7 preview. Those are your picks. That's what, we've got here at Sports Buds TV. But as always, we want to know what you've got. Make sure you comment, hit us with a like, share, and subscribe. And let us know. Let us know your thoughts, your picks. We definitely want to see what you're thinking. Any thoughts on the picks, man, before we wrap that up?
No, can't wait. Glad the Steelers are back.
Yes, sir. So I'm glad we got that. NFL is king. We talked about the Week 6. Now we previewed Week 7. But there's a whole lot going on in sports, man. The MLB, the playoffs, the Astros, and the Rangers, right? That series is currently 2-1. Rangers are winning. But today the Astros pulled out that 8-5 win, man, in Game 3. And on the other side, we've got the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. The Phillies leave that one 2-0. So very interesting, man. You've got your championship series here to see who goes to the World Series. Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Aside from that, the NBA preseason in about a week. The regular season's here, man. I can't wait to see Wembanyama. Today, the starting lineup for the Spurs was a starting lineup that Spurs fans have been looking forward to, dude. And in that first quarter, I think they went up like 20-0 or like it was crazy, man. In the first few minutes, I think it was 14-1 or something like that. It was just insane. The outcome, they end up Wemby ends up with like a few fouls, man. So he's got to clean all that up. But I'm looking forward to it. NBA's here, MLB's in the heat of it. A whole lot going on in sports.
A lot of stuff is happening. A lot of good stuff is happening, and I'm glad. Towards the end of the year, we're getting great fights in UFC. We're getting great basketball.
Yeah.
We're getting great baseball. We got the Texas Subway Series going on. We got the NFL. We got matchups like the hot Dolphins against the hot Eagles team. So it's a lot of great things happening, man. And we're gonna keep y'all updated, giving you our feedback, our opinions. Our likes, our dislikes. So stay tuned and subscribe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A whole lot going on. But I like what you mentioned there, the UFC, MMA, boxing, and let's pick it up there, man, with the UFC and, 294, the next card coming up in
That's
the
gonna
UFC.
be a good one. It's going to be a great one.
It was already a really good card. And then about a week or so ago, the co-main event, the main event, they have switches, in the who's facing off there, and it looks like after them getting those replacements, this may be an even better card, dude. One of the best cards,
Absolutely, man. It's the main event, the co-main, even the other fight. They're all going to be great fights, man.
Yeah. But let's talk about the co-main event. Let's talk about the main event. Of course, we have Kamaru Usman. He's taking on Khamzat Chimaev, and this is going to be interesting, man. Usman doesn't shy away from a challenge. He gets 11, 12 days notice. Hey, this happened. I think it's Paulo. I forget the last name right now. He was supposed to actually be the other man across the cage on that night, but gets injured, so not able to make it. In comes Usman. Yeah, I'll step up. Bring it. He's had, man, so many big fights. I look and I feel like we blinked and now he's 36, maybe losing a step. I'm not saying he has, but he's getting older, right? He's facing a young man at 29. Man, I'm gonna say Usman loses this one, but I'm really looking forward to it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But yeah, man, I just feel like, this may end bad for him.
Usman's a warrior, like you said. He's not one to back down from a fight, from a challenge. He's been a great champion for so many years, and that's why we, didn't really keep track of his age, because even as he was aging, he was still fighting like a young warrior. And he is facing Khamzat, who is a undefeated, up and coming fighter as well. I think Usman is going to show that experience that he's gained throughout the years, man. He's going to pull this one off. It's not going to be a cakewalk, but I think Usman has that grit that's going to get him that victory.
Yeah, man. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I don't see it happening. Yeah, man. I'd hope he can do it, but I just can't see it, man. I think it's going to be. It's gonna show why maybe Paulo Costa wasn't so eager to go in there and face this guy, man. And Kamaru, he's the next man up. He's not gonna shy away. But yeah, man, this may be a bit much to chew for him. Any other thoughts you have before we move on to the main event? Because that co-main event's gonna be fireworks, I'd say.
No, not at all. It's a great setup, great fight. Hoping for fireworks on that one, but for sure we're gonna get to fireworks on the main event.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Speaking of fireworks, like you said, the main event's going to have that. We're seeing Volkanovski step up, man. It was going to be Oliveira, right? He ends up getting hurt in sparring, his last sparring, I think, before taking off and getting ready for the event. and he's injured now. So enter Volkanovski. He wants his get back. We've seen these two go at it before. Islam, right? Volkanovski. We've seen them go at it before. I'm not sure if you recently saw that fight, or it's something that you have recently had a chance to look at. But I think it was close, man. I think Volkanovski had moments where he was winning some rounds, but Islam with his takedown, his wrestling was able to, I think, in my opinion, pull out the win in those rounds. Some people might have thought, hey, he got robbed, but I think they were close rounds. And I feel like with what Islam did, he did enough to get the nod in those rounds, being that close.
Yeah, you're right. Islam's, ground game is, beyond levels, to any average fighter, man. This guy,
Yeah.
he did what he had to do on the floor, but Volkanovski is as tough as they come. This guy, this guy just, it's really tough to pull off a win when you're boxing this guy. That's because he's just very explosive. His punches carry some heavy weight on them. And Islam didn't want none of that. Volkanovski had a great fifth round, which is, I think he did enough to pull off that win. And you can tell by, the fighters at the end of the fight. Volkanovski looked fully energized, clean face, and Islam looked pretty beat up. He's the one that put in a lot of groundwork, but it's going to be a great matchup no matter what. I'm glad we're getting fights like this on the UFC. I think boxing needs to, take a piece from Dana White's repertoire here and, give us great fights, while the fighters are still in their prime, and this is one of those great fights, man.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Boxing, UFC. I mean, we'll talk some boxing right now. As far as, I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from. I personally like that boxing will actually have, maybe not often, but we'll have one organization fight another organization and become undisputed.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
really freaking, I don't know, that I don't never see that in the UFC, then letting them fight the PFL champion and we'll have an undisputed, you know what I mean? That's the one. I'll give boxing that. I feel like that's what also comes with the fact that they're able to have the different organizations. They'll actually have a path to a true undisputed world champion, truly undisputed. I know that UFC's calls, their fighters undisputed, and that's fair, but it's really undisputed for the UFC, for just that, company, that organization. We're talking the world. There's other companies out there, just my 2 cents for whatever that's worth. Let's see what else we've got here. Well, that's the UFC 294, of course. Islam Volkanovski. This is, part 2, October 21st. Don't miss it. I know this was one you mentioned you had caught live the first time. I'm looking forward to it, man. Definitely one that I'm not going to want to watch on a rerun. I want to see what's happening minute by minute. But before we wrap up, I got to talk my boxing. There's a few matchups this weekend. Jack Catterall taking on Jorge Linares. Of course, we have Alexis Rocha. He's taking on Giovanni Santillan. We have Gabriela Fundora in action. So, just a few fighters there to look forward to. Next week, however, though, bud, next week's a big one. We've got Amanda Serrano. She'll be competing in 12 rounds, 3-minute rounds. Not something you see often with, women's boxing. I can't wait for that. That would be happening on the 27th. And that's next Friday. And then that Saturday, October 28th, we'll be seeing Tyson Fury facing Francis Ngannou. Now, we'll get into it next week. It's not, it's just right around the corner, but definitely something to look forward to in boxing. Of course, a whole lot went on this week. There was that press conference with David and Boo Boo that went on, the press conference with Regis Prograis and Devin Haney. I know that you were comparing the two press conferences and felt like, Devin and Regis were doing a good job of selling their fight better, right? So I'm looking forward to it, man. We love to talk boxing here. We love to talk all sports. That's all we've got for today. That's a wrap up for Sports Buds TV and this episode. What you got for the people, Fred?
Thank you all for listening, staying tuned with us. We got a lot of good things coming up, a lot of great matchups in all aspects of sports, boxing, basketball, baseball, football, even some soccer talk if we have to.
Yes, sir.
But We're just, everyday people like you guys, that love sports, love to watch them, love to talk about them. So hit us up, listen, subscribe, share, comment, and let us know what you guys think.
Yes, sir. Could not have said that better. That's a wrap. I've been Serge. That's my boy Fred. This has been Sports Buds TV. Y'all be good.
Peace.
Later.
Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed the latest episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow. See you on the next one.